Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope all you guys are doing well. And we have a little bit of a different video today. It's not going to be any montage or gameplay, but I'm simply going to be going over my thoughts on the Bike Race Awards 2021, which was created, and the Bike Race Awards is hosted by Linus. Very prominent member of the community, very nice guy, known him for a few years now. And every year he hosts the Bike Race Awards, which has different categories where we're going to go through and pick who we think is the best fit, or basically who we think should win each category as far as awards go. So we have 6 different categories we're going to be looking at, and I'm going to be going through each one individually, kind of going over my thoughts, giving some information about each pick. So example, going to be going over Manuel's YouTube channel, my own YouTube channel, Liam's, Mason, and Sam's YouTube channel, for instance, for this category, and we're going to be doing that for every category. I want to give a few disclaimers before I start here. A few notes, basically, is that this video will be going up on the 29th, and voting ends on the 30th. So I will have a link to this form in the description of this video. You'll have until the 30th to vote. And also I encourage you, I'm going to be trying to give as much objective and factual information as possible about each player on here and how they fit into each category. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be showing my votes, and it is going to be, in the end, based on my opinion. There's no definite answer for really any of these categories, so it is going to be my opinion. I encourage you, if you want to vote on this, to maybe find a little bit of information of your own, or maybe take some different things into account than what I said and make your own decision, and not just, copy what I vote, because that's not fun. I don't think any of you would do that, but just in case, I encourage you to make your own decisions and vote for who you think who should win for Bike Race Awards 2021. And one last thing is that a lot of the players on this list are not American or English, and so their names have different pronunciations. Either on purpose or on accident, I'm going to be just using an American pronunciation for everyone's name, just to keep it consistent. And yeah, let's just get into it. Don't want to take up too much of your time here, but I do think it'll be interesting for some of you guys to hear some information maybe didn't know about this year, and about the bike race community. A lot of this stuff, this information like Bike Race Awards, all these players, will be found in the Got a Bike Race Facebook group, which I will also link in the description. I encourage you to join. It's a great community, the biggest community for bike race events, discussion, improving, all that good stuff. And I will also in the description have a link to basically everyone's respective YouTube channels, maybe a TikTok, the most prominent social media basically platform that everyone is on for all these lists, so that you can check out their content for themselves and all that good stuff. So let's get in here, starting with Tournament Player of the Year. Whoever you think was the best tournament player this year, this is referring to the in-game tournaments mode in Bike Race. And as far as 2021 is concerned, now in 2020, all of these choices here for Tournament Player of the Year. In 2020, all of these were a little more prominent, but in 2021, at least in the latter half, I've really only seen a lot of, or at least some talk about a couple of these picks here, which would be Alex Behrman and Mason Wish. Still Into You is Mason's account, and Alex Behrman has 3 accounts. World Domination, which is, I believe, still currently the highest ranked, the highest level tournament account, which multiple people play on, but he also plays on his own account, Alex4259, and another secondary account of his, DeWay. So as far as for 2021 goes, I honestly think you can only really pick between these two. Obviously, X Factor, Mastermind, Robstar, they still play tournaments, at least every once in a while. and they're still leveling up, but they haven't been, in my opinion, and from what I've seen, as prominent in the community. Not a lot of talk about them. And for this Tournament Player of the Year, I'm going to pick Alex Behrman. I know on his Dewey account, his secondary account, he just got, I believe, his 12th Thunder Phantom, which is pretty crazy. He started that account from scratch. I believe it's only him and maybe a couple other people working on it, but it's mostly him that's working on the Dewey account. And I mean, really just an incredible feat. He's hit his 12th Thunder Phantom. He's been grinding out tournaments this whole year. And honestly, he's been like one of the very few players that's still been vocal about their involvement in bike race tournaments, the in-game game mode, that is. So I'm going to vote Alex for this one. I think Mason you could also have as a contender, although I don't know as much about his progress as Alex, but he could also be a contender. And these other three, Robstar, Mastermind, and X Factor, they've been very prominent tournament players for a long time, so you know they're always up for consideration. But I'm going with Alex on this one. So moving on here, YouTube channel of the year. Vote for the YouTube channel you think has been the most contributing or has had the best content this year. So we have, you know, I don't want to nitpick too much, but there's kind of like two criteria you're looking at here, right? The YouTube channel's been the most contributing, so basically the most vocal about when they're uploading, sharing content, having the most uploads, basically quantity, or has had the best content this year, which would be quality. So basically, which YouTube channel between a mix of quantity and quality do you think should win YouTube channel of the year for 2021? So I have a little bit more notes here than tournament players, and I have, you know, notes for all of these categories. But to start off here, Emmanuel, he owns the Gotta Bike Race YouTube channel, which of course is the largest bike race YouTube channel. If you guys are watching this, then you've probably heard of him. He's been a big figure for many years. He owns, naturally, the Gotta Bike Race Facebook group and manages that. And his YouTube channel this year has had 27 bike race related videos, including a couple mods and mostly gameplays from other players that he has uploaded to his channel. But like I said, he's had 27 uploads this year, most of which is, I will say, is other people's content. There is still some of his like runs and content in there, like tournament gameplays, things like that, new mods that he's released. But there is also a mix of other people's content in there. So whether you think that should affect his YouTube channel of the year standing is up to your own discretion. But I will say, as far as quantity goes, he has had the most amount of videos with 27 this year, which is pretty good. That's more than 2 a month. So that's Manuel's channel, Gotta Bike Race, which again, I'll link in the description. So next we have my channel, which you guys are on right now. So I don't need to link that one because it's right here. But this is my channel, Mr. JR3, JR3 being my initials. And this year I've had 10 bike race related videos, which includes, I've had a couple mods that I've released. I had the Bike Race JR3 in early this year, and actually another mod that I made a video on but didn't post to YouTube, the multi-mod. But that doesn't contribute to YouTube channel because I didn't upload it. But mostly my channel, besides a couple mod stuff, is gameplays, montages, whatever you want to call it. And like I said, I've had 10 videos uploaded this year. In my opinion, like for instance, you have Gotta Bike Race's channel, which has high quantity and decent quality, not the highest quality, but decent quality, and the highest quantity of uploads. My channel, you have a large dip in consistency and uploads, but I think the quality of the gameplays, I did one episode on a series for Shortcut Progressions. I think that my channel has a little bit higher quality than someone like Gotta Bike Race's channel, but obviously a lot less quantity. So depending on what preference you have as far as uploads are concerned, maybe choose between those two. And then moving on here, we have Liam. So Liam Gould, he has the channel Jinx Bike Race. He has had 7 uploads this year that are bike race related, and that includes a couple mods that he's made, like Spectre Bike, Vortex and Kabuto Hog, and also a couple gameplays as well. He's had, again, 7 videos, and like me, put more effort into the quality. He makes very clean mods, very polished. He does nice edits for the videos to release the mods, and his gameplays are still good. But he's only had 7 videos this year, so less than 1 a month, which is the same as my channel. So between those two, kind of similar in that regard. But then on the other end of the spectrum, like God of Bike Race, we have Mason Arens, which he's uploaded 20 videos this year, a lot of which, I think most of which, have been in the second half of this year, which has been nice to see. His main contribution with his 20 videos is the world record gameplays that he's been posting, which have come out at a very high frequency. As he has the second most uploads to his YouTube channel out of these 5 picks right here for YouTube channel of the year. 20 videos, like I said, and his most prominent one is world record gameplay. So he has a high quantity, and also his world record gameplays. There's nothing crazy with the editing. It's just basically cut clips of his runs with some music in the background, but the runs are very high quality. As they're all world records. They're all very clean runs, very polished, and he puts a lot more time into the runs aspect of it than the editing aspect of it, so that he can get out more videos during the year. So that's why with Mason, you're looking at like high quantity and also high quality videos as well. And then finally we have Sam Novak's Bike Race Alta channel. He's had 9 videos uploaded this year, including a few gameplays and also a couple live streams, multiplayer or otherwise, or just playing the game, which is nice to see because, people like me, Linus, maybe a couple other people, Speed Demon also, we live stream mostly to Facebook. We don't live stream on YouTube, so it's nice to see that Bike Race Alta, aka Sam, he's been live streaming a little bit to YouTube as well, which, like I said, is really nice to see because there aren't a lot of live streams that go onto YouTube. I think Emmanuel did a couple during the year, but Sam's been, doing some live streams on the YouTube spectrum, even though he's only had 9 videos this year. The fact that some of them are live streams that are, interactive with the community, with his subscribers, very nice to see, very nice to see. So as far as YouTube channel of the year goes, we're looking at, you can either look at like quantity of videos, or you can look at quality, or you can look at both. I'm going to vote for Mason here, which is Bike Race Calamity. Again, 20 videos uploaded this year, very high frequency for when he uploads, especially in the latter half of this year, and just high quality runs, very high quality runs, some of the best runs out there. And I mean, if you really want to improve the quality anymore, you're looking at either my channel or Liam's channel, Mr. JR3 or Jinx Bike Race. That would be really the only 2 channels I think where there's a lot more time put into the actual editing aspect. And maybe you think, that raises the quality, but then you're at a loss, a big loss for quantity of uploads there. So because of that, I'm voting Mason here, Bike Race Calamity. And, with this, I'm in half of these categories, by the way. I'm in YouTube channel, contributor, and player of the year. If I don't, vote for myself for these, it's not necessarily because, don't vote for yourself. To make it fair, I genuinely think that, for example, Mason has had a more contributing YouTube channel this year in 2021 than I have, and that's why I'm voting him and not myself. Just not because don't want to vote for myself, but because I actually think that his YouTube channel's been better than mine this year. So moving on to our third category, just about halfway done here. Maybe speed up the process a little bit. We have Level Creative of the Year. So who has made the best levels this year? If you're involved in the Facebook community, a decent amount, like the Guided Bikers page, the UCL group page, which is where a lot of these levels are coming from. You may know that currently, hopefully currently, and it'll be fixed in the future, but we'll see, the UCL editor. So online, if you were to go to bikerace.com, you would be able to build, test, play other people's levels online, and then save them so that you can play them in game. But that site has been down now for a little bit. So a lot of these levels have come from, up until November, basically this past month. Not as many levels coming out, but nonetheless, still a lot of levels coming out this year, which is great to see. There's still a lot of active involvement in UCL making, which not a lot of people do. So to start off here, we have Adam Cooper. He's made about 90 levels this year, which is a very large quantity, 90 levels. Plus, his levels, they're a little bit more advanced, I'd say, as far as the techniques go, the possible shortcuts, they're a little more advanced than maybe what these other four would build, in my opinion, just from, what I've played and what I've seen from him. But these are, tournament caliber levels that he's making. And currently we are in a community hosted tournament, and we just finished up the third round today, and Adam's already had 2 of his levels used in the tournament that he's been saving specifically so we could have new levels to use for this tournament, which is great to see, that he put in the work to make levels for this tournament. And of course, like I said, he makes tournament caliber levels, very advanced and very well designed. Next we have Emil, and he's made about 75 levels this year, from what I've seen, which is again a large quantity, more than the bottom 3 here. So Adam with about 90, Emil with about 75. And I'd say along with him and also Hayden as well, there's a little bit more of an emphasis on like flow, on smoothness of the levels. Maybe Emil a little bit more of an emphasis on shortcuts than Hayden. But both build like, relatively smooth levels, great to play, flow well. And not that Adams, don't flow well, but they're a little bit more, I guess, simple. The routes are more, they just feel more smooth, momentum's carried more thoroughly throughout the entire time. And that's just my opinion for what I've got. So 75 levels this year from Emil, and then Hayden coming in with about 30 levels this year, which, like I said, with Emil, very smooth levels. And also Hayden, I would say, puts a large emphasis on Ghost and Agile Soul shortcuts and routes and things like that, which they're very, popular bikes, especially Agile Soul, very prominent bikes in the community. A lot of people like to, just play levels for fun and test levels with Agile Soul. And Hayden has definitely put an emphasis on making routes for those Ghost type bikes that work very well in parallel with the regular level. And like I said, just very smooth levels, flow very well. And that's kind of, I guess, his style of level building. So next we have Liam, which you may remember from from YouTube channel of the year here. Liam's built about 25 levels this year, and I'd say more on the, it's kind of like his YouTube channel almost. It's more on the aesthetic side of things. His levels, they still flow well, still very well designed. You can tell there's a lot of thought put into the design behind the levels, but a lot of polishing on his levels. Very well designed, very aesthetically pleasing. So if you're into, like, I guess the creative aspect of level building, then you're probably looking at like Adam or Liam or Pelly, as far as level design as an art goes, as opposed to level design playing. But Liam, obviously his levels still play well. and they look very nice. And then Peli, finally, you've got about 20 levels, somewhere between 20 and 30. He has, I think, about 15 posted to the UCL group on Facebook, and then he's got 15 to 20 posted on his TikTok, which I'll be linking in the description as well. In addition to like all the YouTube channels and whatnot, I'll be linking his TikTok as well. He's got about 15 to 20 levels on there, and there's some overlap between ones he's posted on TikTok and ones he's posted on Facebook. So somewhere around 20 levels that he's made this year, 20 to 30, 20 to 25. And yeah, I mean, just solid levels, I guess. I would say there's nothing I haven't seen really definitive style from him. Granted, I haven't played a ton of his levels, but not really so much a definitive style per se. But he does put a lot of thought into like sketching levels, coming up with ideas, things like that. And he does also post his new levels on TikTok in addition to Bike Race. Now, this is just who you think made the best levels, so that's not really something to judge on, but it is, something very nice to take into account when you're just thinking about him as a player, is that he's contributing to multiple areas of the community. But for Level Creative of the Year, I'm going to vote Adam for this one. Highest quantity of levels, very, advanced tournament caliber types of levels that you like to see. And even though they can be tricky to play at times, I think they're the most, I guess, well thought out, well tested, well practiced, things like that. So now moving on here, we have Contributor of the Year. I have a lot of information on this, which hopefully I can go through a little bit quickly for you, but there is a lot to go through. So first we have myself, James Rusher III. Vote for who you think has made the most efforts to contribute to the community this year. So as far as my contributions go, you're on my YouTube channel right now, making some videos for you guys. I also on Facebook had a few long live streams throughout the year. Not as many as I would have liked to have, if I'm being honest, but a few live streams to Facebook. We do multiplayer, we do some UCLs, all that good stuff. I play levels you guys want me to play, grinding out a little bit, having fun with you guys. Very interactive live streams. Also, as far as contributions to modding goes, Bike Race GR3, which I made, I think, in February. It was when it was released this year, if I remember correctly. I should probably remember my own mods. But anyways, Bike Race GR3 I released early this year. Seems like a lot of people liked it. I think, a few people still using it even now, which I love to see. It's a all tournament bikes unlocked mod with custom skins. The whole game has like custom design, except for the levels, but like all the bikes, the interface, all that, custom skins. And I think it looks really nice. I've also made the multi-mod, which combined a bunch of different, basically almost as many as I could fit. Bunch of mods into one singular app so that it's easy, more accessible for you guys to get mods. You don't have to download 6 or 7 different apps. You can just download one, my multi-mod, as well as tournament participation. As far as tournament participation, I think I've participated in just about every, from what I've seen, every community hosted tournament, and this is different than the tournament game mode that I talked about earlier. This is like community hosted tournaments. For example, Janice's single player groups tournament, Nations tournament 2021, which I was the captain for, Team USA for the Nations tournament. Things like Kike's Cup, things like the World Tournament by Matthew Lee, those types of community hosted tournaments. I've participated in every one and tried to get people involved a little bit in those. And also I've recently this year became a mod for the Guided Bike Race Facebook page, not his YouTube channel, but the Facebook page. I've become a mod for that as well. So I'm trying to keep an eye over the community. Moving on, we have Liam. Liam, He has a YouTube channel, Jinx Bike Race. He made the Vortex and Kabuto Hog mod, which was awesome. Vortex, one of my more liked modded bikes. I think it's really cool. It has some interesting shortcuts. Also the Spectre bike mod. He was the first one to be able to do a mod with tournament abilities. Very genius way he figured out how to mod tournament abilities onto bikes. He made the Spectre bike mod, which is a great mod, and that has like a custom level look in addition to, you know, custom skin for the Spectre bike. And also he released his All Tourney Bikes mod updated to 7.7.9 on Android, which my Bike Race JR3 was still on version 6.5 maybe. But Liam's, he has a version 7.7.9 tournament bike mod. Very nice. And he's also, as far as contributions go, made some levels. Like I said, made about 25 levels this year. So he's made contribution to that area of the community as well. And we have Linus. You know, he has a YouTube channel, which is Ostrich Official Bike Race. That's what it's called. I'll leave that in the description, obviously, along with everyone else's main social media page. He's got his YouTube channel. He is hosting this whole thing. He's hosting Bike Race Awards 2021. He also hosted the Nations Tournament for this year, you know, which was large, absolutely massive tournament. Players, you know, divided into a ton of different teams based on what country they're originating from. And he's also, you know, hosted a couple live streams. He's done a couple, I don't think as quite as many as me, but he has done a couple of live streams to Facebook where he's playing with, you know, people in the community, playing some multiplayer, doing all that good stuff, being interactive with the community. And he has also recently, at the same time that I did, he's become an admin for the Guided Bike Race Facebook page. So he's looking over the community in that regard. And you can't forget the fact that every post that he sees on Facebook, he does drop a like on it. So if you're new to the Facebook community, you're not sure if anyone's gonna see your post or like it, just know that at the very least, Linus is gonna drop a like on that. But yeah, very, very contributing guy to the community, one of the nicest guys around that you'll ever meet. So that's basically Linus's contribution there. He's just been actively involved in, you know, talking to members of the community all the time. You got Mason Arens. Again, his YouTube channel, Bike Race Calamity, with tons of gameplays, mostly his world record gameplays. And on Facebook, he's had a large quantity of posts that he's posted. Between him and Speed Demon, they have the highest quantity of posts out of this list for contributor of the year into the Facebook groups. So making a lot of posts, really interacting with the community a lot, and of course making all his world record gameplays that a lot of people enjoy watching, and has gained him a lot of subscribers on YouTube. So good for him. Shows you that, you know, contributing to the game and to making content for the community really pays off. And then finally we have Speed Demon here. Speed Demon, in addition to being extremely active in the Facebook side of Bike Race, he's also somewhat active on Reddit. He's also very active on Discord and very active on TikTok. He's got one of the largest Bike Race TikTok accounts. He's got 1,500 followers currently. I will leave his TikTok along with Pelly's in the description of this video, like I've been saying. So you can find his TikTok there. Drop him a follow, check out his videos. He's been posting a lot of TikToks, and also posting a lot on Facebook, especially with Moonbike live streams. He's definitely done the most live streams out of anyone on any list on this page. He's done the most live streams, especially to Facebook, putting in a lot of work, talking with the community, you know, figuring things out, testing things, and overall just, you know, having fun and doing all that good stuff. He's also the originator of the modded bikes world record sheet. So like when I was talking about earlier, the multi-mod I released that had a bunch of different mods for Android on it combined into one app. He was the originator of the world record sheet for said modded bikes, and I am currently a mod on it as well, but he was the originator of it. I've just been brought onto the team, and keeping track of all the modded bike world records. A lot of time and effort goes into that, updating the lists, updating the counts, updating the world records. And yeah, I mean, really, for contributor of the year, I'm voting Speed Demon here. I think mainly because he's contributed to just about every different community that bike race is a part of. You got Facebook, you have TikTok, you have a little bit in Discord, you have a little bit in Reddit, and Speed Demon, he's everywhere, contributing everywhere that he can, and at the same time keeping up with things like the modded bike world record sheet, keeping up with things like live streams with the community, and that's why I'm voting him for contributor of the year. So going on here, we have 2 categories left, only 2, so I won't keep you for too much longer. Most improved player of the year, vote for you think has improved most this year. So this is an interesting category, because if this was something like, let's say for instance that all these players, this was their first year in the community, which is the case for these 4, I believe. But let's say this was like rookie of the year, and everyone, this was their first year in the community, and I had to choose who was the best out of these 5. If they all joined this year, there would be a different answer than for most improved player of the year, because obviously the goal for improvement is you start somewhere at this skill level, and you're trying to improve as much as possible by the end of the year. And that's really what I'm going to be looking at here, not necessarily who's the best player out of these currently. They're all very skilled players, but I will say that my answer for the best player out of these 5 and my answer for the most improved player out of these 5 is different. Okay, so that's something to take into account. If you're voting or just following along with me as I discuss this, that is, we're looking at improved here and not the best player out of these 5. So to start off, we have Elaine, and I would say he started off the year quite good already. He started off as a very skilled player. The only post that I have from him from not recent times was from 2019, and showed great skill in that run as well. I was with the Grim Reaper, short clip with that, and really from what I could see, which was very little, that one clip, and from what I've heard about him from where he started this year here, he started off quite good. That being said, he is now currently a very high caliber player, very high skill level. He holds around 30 world records right now, which puts him on the top 20 world record holders list for the main world record sheet. And he really made a showing this year in the Nations Tournament. He was playing for France, as he's a French player, naturally. And like I said, really made a showing. He really came, and he didn't put the team on his back because France has a lot of other very skilled players on it, but he was one of the main contributors, I'd say, to his team's success. They made it all the way to the finals versus USA versus us, and one of the top players easily in the whole tournament, not just on France's team, did a lot of really good runs, really fantastic times, and really made a name for himself. Really made a name for himself in that tournament. Moving on, we have Jack Clout. Jack is a little bit of an enigma because I'm not really sure how he started this year. I'm not really sure what skill level he started at. I think it's safe to say that he started off pretty good at the very least. But in recent times, he just got his first main sheet world record, which was with the Thunder Phantom, which is, Thunder Phantom world records are not easy to get, let alone, a world record on the main sheet. And has also hit a couple difficult shortcuts in recent times as well, such as like Holiday 2-2 normal, for instance. And I think the main thing where you can kind of see his improvement is that he posts a lot about like his fails and him getting closer and closer to hitting shortcuts or to getting the time that he's going for. Out of these 5 players, he's definitely the one that posts the most about how he is actually progressing in his actual improvement, which helps contribute, in my opinion, to people, being able to see his improvement right in front of their face, which is, very good. I like to see people's progress here. Next, we have James Solar. James, he joined the community in late June and posted his Bike Bowl 1 world record with the hog bike. And that was in July, I believe. July or maybe early August when he posted that Bike Bowl 1 run with hog. But basically, after a month after he joined the community, he posted his first world record, and he's continued. He has improved, I will say, but he already started off at a very high skill level. So even though you can see that he has improved some, he started off the year as an already pretty good player, which is the same case with Elaine, where you can see that they already started off quite good. So the improvement is not as noticeable, even though they are both very skilled players. Next, we have Lucas. Lucas here, he joined the community in April and posted his first official world record in October. So joined in the 4th month of the year, posted a world record in the 10th month, so 6 months later after joining, posted his first official world record. And really, especially in recent times, I've seen him competing hard for world records. He had a competition between him and a couple other people on trying to get a AHOG world record on an Arctic 3 level. And really, he's been, from what I've seen in tournaments, like Nations, in showing up on the Facebook page, with this like AHOG world record battle, posting other runs that he's had. And for what I've seen from him playing levels, really he's keeping up a lot and battling against other elite level players, and he's showing that he himself is also an elite level player. So that being said, with Most Improved, like I said, he joined in April, but didn't. He posted his first official world record in October and didn't really post much of anything else besides that. So it's hard to say exactly where he started at, but it is easy to say that he is on par with other elite level players as of now, as of recent time. And finally, we have Jorn. Jorn joined the community in June, posted his first Double Acro Ghost Hog gameplay in August. So Double Acro Ghost Hog is one of those modded bikes I was talking about earlier. My favorite modded bike to this day, my favorite bike probably in the entire game, honestly. And he has improved some, even though he does stick mostly to modded bikes in his runs. The skill is quite clearly there, and I think he would be capable of getting some main sheet world records if he attempted it. But it's kind of the same problem, like I said with James, like I said with Elaine, is that Jorn already started off the year at a high skill level. His Double Acro Ghost Hog gameplay, which was the first thing he posted, which was in August, that gameplay it was fantastic, very high quality runs, some of the best runs to the time, even now, with the Double Acro Ghost Hog bike, and showing a lot of advanced knowledge of movement and being able to get very high quality runs, elite level runs. And that, while it shows that he's a fantastic player, does not help him for trying to win Most Improved, because he started off already very highly skilled, for what I had seen when he posted for the first time in August. So for Most Improved Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Jack Clout on this one, just because I don't know where he started. It's similar to everyone on this list, honestly. they all started off at the very least as a pretty good player, if not a high-level player. So Jack Clout started off, I assume, at the very least this year, pretty good. But since then, I would say out of these 5, except for maybe James and maybe Lucas, but definitely Jack the most, you are able to see his actual progress and his improvement throughout the year that he's been here, and being able to see progress for hitting shortcuts, progress for getting difficult times, progress for competing and trying to beat other players' times. That has been the most prominent for me, for Jack, out of these 5. So that's why I'm voting him for most improved player of the year. And now, final category, player of the year for 2021. Maybe what a lot of you were waiting for out of this whole list. Of course, save the best category for last. The 6th category, the final category, vote for who you think was the best player of 2021. Now, when I look at this, I urge people to be careful, because obviously right here, the wording for when you're voting for player of the year is vote for who you think was the best player. So the best player, when I think of the best player, I think of the most skilled. That's just me personally. Maybe for you, the best player means the best player in terms of skill who also contributes a lot to the community. Maybe for you, best player is the person who is the most skilled based on how much effort they're putting in. Someone who puts in a lot of effort and it shows in their skill. Maybe for you, that's what best player means. Maybe for you, best player is the most consistent. Consistently getting high-level times, even if they're not always the best of the best, but consistently giving top-level times. Maybe for you, that's best player. For me, when I'm looking at best player of the year, I'm just looking at most skill. That includes consistency, that includes world record count, and that includes the ability to beat other players in the community. That's what I think of when I think of best player. So going through here, first we have Abdullah. He is posted only 6 times this year. I will say he's only posted 6 times this year, but if you are in the Facebook community, you know that he is a phenomenon. Every post that he's had, even though it's been in very few quantity, it's always something surprising. It's some new shortcut, some insanely fast time, near perfect run, maybe near perfect run with a crazy shortcut that he either has developed or optimized for the run. And I would say, as far as hitting difficult shortcuts, out of everyone in the community and out of these 5, including these 5, he is the best shortcut completer, the best shortcut hitter, whatever you want to call it. He is the best at completing and finding difficult shortcuts and executing them, and then afterwards also optimizing them to a high level. And currently, he has over 500 world records. He is, by far, it's not even close, the #1 on the world record leaderboard for the main world record sheet. And I mean, if I'll add this note, honestly, he already has quite the resume as it is, but naturally you can imagine he was the anchor. He was the prime player for Team Netherlands in the Nations Tournament. And I mean, really within 15 minutes of the level being released, within 15 minutes of him playing the level, he's got the top time on the level. And that's just an insane level of consistency that I would say even the second most consistent player, Mason, isn't even quite at the level that Abdullah's at. It's just on another level, honestly. There's no other way to put it. But moving on here, I feel bad that he was put first because he's got quite the skill set to him, quite the history. Kind of unfortunate that he got put there first. But moving on here, we have Adam. Adam currently has about 40 world records. He was one of the top players on Team USA in the Nations Tournament. He was on our team for Team USA. Adam and I were on the same team. He posts, high-level gameplays, a couple world record gameplays, mostly UCL gameplays. And if there was a category on here for UCL Player of the Year, I would pick Adam. I'm gonna be honest, because he's been playing UCLs a lot this year, also making them as well, making levels, and his gameplays on there are just outstanding, very high quality runs. Even though he doesn't have quite as many world records on the main sheet, I think he could get more, but he puts a lot of time into UCLs, the creation and playing of them, and gets the best time on them, gets very high level times, and just like I said, very, very high quality runs, especially on user created levels, UCLs. Next here we have Anya. Anya currently has over 120 world records. They've really showed up in the past few months, gained a lot of momentum, and shown great expertise with the hog bike, especially, which is a very difficult bike to control, as it has extra bike length, but no extra, basically, rotation speed, no extra acrobatness to make up for the fact that it's extra length. So a very difficult bike to control and handle, but Anya has made themselves an expert on it. They've really shown up, and like I said, gained a lot of world records, over 120 currently, gained a lot of momentum, and also very, very consistent player. Probably, if I had to rate consistency out of these 5, Abdullah, Mason, Anya, Adam, and then myself, as far as consistency goes. Very consistent player, consistently getting good times, getting good times quickly, which is usually what I mean when I talk about consistency. And like I said, shown great expertise with the hog bike, which is an extremely difficult bike to control. So if you admire that about a player, the ability to control very difficult bikes, then maybe Anya is your pick for best player, because they specialize in the hog bike, which is very difficult to control. Next, you have me, James, on here. I currently have over 30 world records, which are posted. I'm sure everyone here has world records that aren't posted, so I'm not going to dive into that. But I have a little bit over 30 currently on the world record sheet. Like I said, been posting high-level gameplays on my YouTube channel and the Facebook page, the God of Bike Race Facebook page. If I'm being honest, it's probably close between me and Mason, but besides Abdullah, we are probably the second best as far as hitting shortcuts goes. I find going for shortcuts and trying to complete them very enjoyable. I would say maybe not a lot more fun, but more fun than just grinding a level over and over and over again to improve your time by a little margin, but actually going for very difficult shortcuts, new shortcuts that not many people have hit. And as far as community-hosted tournaments go, I am definitely the most dominant player. One, by participation, because I participate in basically all community-hosted tournaments, and also, getting, top 3, even, I think, this year, about half the tournaments I participated in, I've actually won the entire thing, whether by myself or with a team. I've been on the winning end of it for at least half of the tournaments that I've participated in this year. And like I alluded to earlier, was the captain for Team USA for the Nations Tournament. So I would say really the only way that I could win Best Player is if you want to combine community involvement with skill, with winning community-hosted tournaments. That's my main thing that I've been doing, putting a lot of effort towards, not necessarily getting a bunch of world records on the main sheet, but participating a lot in community-hosted tournaments and winning those. So if you think that that's a better display of skill than just single player, then maybe I'd be your vote. But as far as world record holders, I'm not the most prominent on this list by far. And then finally we have Mason here. Mason currently has over 130 world records. His world record gameplays that have been coming out, a lot of those world records have stood until now, and has brought him up to over 130. Gained him a lot of momentum in the latter half of this year. Like I said earlier about his YouTube channel, he just, I mean, the frequency has been crazy in the second half of this year, starting in like August or so. The frequency at which he's been getting world records, the consistency he's had with uploading those gameplays has just been ridiculous, off the charts, and that would put him as probably the second best like world record getter, I guess, second best at taking world records other than Abdullah up here. He is the second most consistent player in the world, in my opinion, and also, in my opinion, the second best player in the world currently. And also, like I said when I was talking about my own pick for player of the year, a very good shortcut hitter, very good at hitting shortcuts. He recently hit an ultra bike shortcut on Desert 2-3. That's what it was. Desert 2-3. He hit the ultra shortcut on there. Very difficult shortcut to hit. And he completed it many times. Got a very good time. I believe he currently has a world record on it, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I believe he currently has a world record on it, or at least is close to it, within decimals of it. That's a very difficult shortcut to complete. So as far as getting world records, being consistent, hitting shortcuts, Mason is easily the second best, which pains me to say that because he's very talented, but second best behind Abdullah, because Abdullah is, I mean, like I said earlier, just on another level. So if I'm, in my definition, what I'm looking at for best player of 2021, even if they're not involved in the community, even if they aren't posting the world records they get, the fact that he has hit new insane shortcuts still almost 10 years after the game has been released, and getting 200 to 300 world records this year, increasing his count by that much, he's got to be player of the year. Even if you don't see it, even if it's not on the surface, it's all like behind the scenes work that he's putting in. I still think that you would vote him for best player under my definition of best player of 2021. Some people don't like this vote because he's not as involved in the community. He doesn't post gameplays. He posts, clips once every other month, basically. He posts one clip. But if you keep up with the community, if you look at what he's doing in your rankings or on the world record sheet, he's got to be the best player, in my opinion. So that is it. I kept you under an hour at least. That's good. So like I said, this was Bike Race Awards 2021. There will be a link to it in the description, along with a link to everyone else's social that has one, like a YouTube or a TikTok page. And also a link to vote for this. Voting ends tomorrow. Today's the 29th. It ends on the 30th. So make sure, if you want to vote, that you get on in there. Tell other people that play bike race or in the community to do this if they haven't done already. Thank you again very much to Linus for hosting this. It means a lot that he continues to contribute so much to the community and host these awards and the Rewind video every year. So I'm just going to go through here, make sure that everything I selected is stayed, and there you have it. That was Bike Race Awards 2021. Make sure the results will be in the Bike Race 2021 Rewind video, which is what I was talking about. with Linus. You can find it on YouTube, Ostrich Official Bike Race, but I will also post it on Facebook. So again, in the description, I'm going to have a link to the God of Bike Race Facebook page. I'm going to have a link to Linus's YouTube. I'm going to have a link to everyone else's most prominent social media if they have one. And thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts. I tried to put in a lot of facts there for you, but also talk a little bit about my opinion side of things, which really brought down between like 2 or 3 final picks for each category. A lot of the categories were super close, especially most improved player for me for trying to choose between. But I try to give you my thoughts and what basically sealed the deal for each of my picks. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, that's about it. Hopefully 2022 is a good year for Bike Race. I'll see you guys later.